continue the conversation, we're going to take, there are some rules around the rules of engagement for this next session. Questions short, no soapboxes. After a minute, I'm going to be winding you up. Firstly, can you state your name and organisation, and please keep the question short. I'm going to kick off with the first question. Richard and I have got quite a few to go, but I just wanted to come back to Tan Lee after our first session, and back to the theme of the discussion, which is superconnected world, myth or marvel. And based on the work that you've been doing, what's your view?
Well, it's definitely not a myth. I mean, we've been living through a superconnected world for the last several decades, and it's accelerated to the point where it's really a part of our lives now. So it's certainly not a myth. And in terms of the marvel aspect, it's certainly a marvel, and it continues to marvel because it continues to inspire, and there's so much creativity and innovation that continues to happen on a day-to-day basis. So yeah, we're super connected, but you know, I think the biggest question is, what does that mean, and how do we really use that to our advantage, and how do we use that as a small company, as a big company, as a private individual, as an organisation, as government, to really use that superconnectedness in a manner that achieves a common prosperity for all. And I think that's really the biggest challenge going forward is that question. Okay,
we're going to do a little bit more with that in a moment. If you've got a question, there's microphones in the side. There's actually one there. I have one. There's quite a few hands. Can you come to the microphone? I think that's probably easier, and we can, Richard and I'll joust and see who. There's a question there, and then we'll come here. Thanks.
Cassandra Kelly-Pottinger. In myth, marvel or nightmare, if you're a parent and this superconnected world, does anyone care to comment on whose responsibility or how we police out the nightmare component?
Well, you know, my view is that, if I may take the question, I mean, it's our responsibility. I mean, a lot of parents, and I've seen it in my own family. I mean, a child will love the iPad. It is something that's an easy way to pacify them and to engage them for 30 minutes, an hour while you're really busy, but that's not the solution. I mean, at the end of the day, do we want our children to stay inquisitive, to be creative, to ask the right questions, to wonder about the world, and to inspire their imagination? And that requires us to take the charge and to take them outside, to encourage them to ask questions. You know, I think the ultimate responsibility still rests with us in how we shape our future generation.
Any contradictions?
Well, I've been worrying for some time about whether we're training up or educating a generation of students who are just colossally impatient, who want very quick and very fine and brilliant results very fast, and who just are not having the experience of tackling a project of the imagination, their own project, where they have to work hard for days to get it to work right. I mean, kids in my generation would spend weeks building, a car or something like that. And how many kids are actually putting in that sort of experience? Or to take a more mundane example, I think that learning to play a musical instrument and learning to play it well is a wonderful thing for a child. It's great discipline. It's a great experience. It gives them many things. That's obvious. I don't think that Guitar Hero is a good substitute for that.
Right.
And the trouble is that Guitar Hero is so seductive, and the iPad is so seductive that unless you go to great lengths to remove these things from the child's environment, I mean, remove them, then the deeper joys that are only available if you take the time and do the practice, will just be unavailable to these children. And they won't know what they're missing, but they'll be missing a great deal.
Well, there's certainly dangers, subtle ones that have been, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep. Subtle ones, such as the ones described, more profound ones in terms of predators on the internet, and the anonymity, which can be a negative thing. But fundamentally, this is a gateway to all of knowledge, which kids are absolutely taking advantage of. I'm in touch with lots of children. I'm very interested in education. I think it's very inspiring to see a young woman embracing science and technology. We need to do more of that in the United States. And the correspondence I have with young people, these are kids sometimes 9, 10, 11 years old, very sophisticated. It clearly benefits from the access to knowledge which are at everybody's fingertips. It's just, you know, they are in touch with events and movements and intellectual ideas around the world in a way that, you know, my generation didn't have the opportunity to do so. And there are examples like the one I gave earlier of, you know, African kids who can access all of MIT and are doing that even at age 12. And they can access other people. They can create communities of interest. Obviously, parents are responsible for supervising their kids. It's not so easy to supervise everything that somebody does on the internet. And as the kids get older, you know, they probably know how to use the equipment better than their parents do. But fundamentally, I think it's a very good thing because it's connecting kids to a vast array of knowledge which didn't exist before.
Can I just? I think that's a fabulous question. I mean, thank you very much for the question. But I'm intrigued. I've just become a father again after a gap of 17 years. This is my 10th child. He's a boy of 5 months old, and I kid you not, we were Skyping each other last night. I mean, he was looking at me, he was listening to me, he was talking to me, gabble. And smiling at the kinds of things I was saying. He was reaching forward for the keyboard because he could watch his mother doing the same thing. And I just think we have to be careful. I'm like Ray, I'm an optimist, but I think I have seen the development of my children through my own eyes to too great an extent and haven't realized the different level of development of young people these days, especially in their interaction with technology. And I think it's just extraordinary and the potential, the liberation of human potential, I think is extraordinary as well. I think one of the difficulties might be if parents, or more particularly teachers, don't understand that.